CanPL.ca Newsroom for this week. Marty Thompson, Charlie O'Connor-Clarke. The Newsroom now half based in Manitoba, half based in Ontario. I've made it to Winnipeg. People keep asking me how it is. I don't know. I haven't been able to leave the hotel room. So stop asking me. I don't want to pass judgment, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that it's great out there, but you wouldn't know yet.
I see it. I mean, it seems all right to me. Hopefully, we'll be able to get out and see a bit more of it here as the kickoff looms. I mean, it's 8 days away, which is crazy to think about as we're recording this on Friday. The first game's kicking off on Saturday. Before we get to the CPL, though, we've got to talk about the Canadian men's national team. You've seen it. You watched the game. You've read about it. I'm not sure exactly where to start here. Canada beating Haiti 3-0 in the second leg, 4-0 on aggregate in the second round of World Cup qualifying to make it to the final stage. Now, the Octagon, that final stage, the first time they've made it since the 1998 World Cup cycle, obviously in a bid to qualify for the World Cup for the first time since 1986, which most Canadians just seem to know off the top of their head at this point. That second leg was a bizarre game for a couple of reasons, and we'll get to the big one in a bit.
Yeah.
But let's just put this into perspective, right? In a couple of days removed, we've been writing quite a bit on the site. Like, this is just such a big moment for Canada. And I mean, coming through a pandemic, with no fans, and it's happened and it's moving on. And, maybe now it's just time to look forward, right?
Yeah. It felt really good, man. Didn't it?
Yes, it did.
I think there was kind of a cathartic element to that game, just to see Canada come in with so much pressure. And the first bit of the game was a little bit nervy. And then eventually they just grow into it and they dominate. And by the end of it, it really wasn't in doubt at all. And I think this is probably the first time we can say that this generation of the national team has accomplished something, which is really good. Like, they have something to show for all this talent and stuff that they have on paper. Finally, I mean, they've done something that they haven't done in 20 years. And it really felt like they'd accomplished something. And yeah, I know that they haven't faced the biggest tests that they're going to yet. Like, they played Haiti and Suriname, and as tough as those games were, they'll be a lot more difficult down the road. But it still felt on Tuesday night that something had shifted. Like, it felt like this team had actually done something. And you could definitely see it in the players and the way they reacted after the game. And it just felt like a big deal.
See, you watch the own goal in a vacuum. And that goal has since gone viral. I know OneSoccer is posting that their Twitter video has like millions and millions of views at this point. And like, that was such a a polarizing moment for many people watching. But I don't mean to slack on the goalkeeper or anything like that, because this is all just like from a very like top level perspective. There was just something about that where that would happen to Canada.
Yeah,
that would of course, that like it would make you just say of course, but like for some reason it was just tilted the other way, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I thought when it first happened. I'm like, yeah, I am more used to being on the other end of that. I think I would feel a lot worse about it if Canada hadn't been deserving of a goal from that game, and B, if they hadn't scored a bunch more or two more real ones after it.
Yes, of course.
It definitely made it a lot easier to swallow. I mean, the poor goalkeeper had a great game for the most part. Like, outside of that, I mean, he got shoved into the starting role because the starter couldn't get into the country due to visa issues, right? Johnny Placide has always been the starter for Haiti for a while. And this guy comes in, young guy, born in Montreal, and he plays a great first half. He had that triple body save on Jonathan David.
All going into his left shoulder. He just kept popping it. It was cool to see.
Yeah. And then you never feel great when you see that happen to a guy. And I'm sure that it'll stick with him for a really, really long time. But I mean, did you laugh or cry? Because I cried. Like, I cringed immediately. And it honestly kind of happened when I was sort of looking away for a second. Like, I kind of looked back and the ball's in the net. So I didn't really register just what had happened till I saw a couple of the replays. And at first it's like, oh my God, we scored. Canada scored. Wow. And then I was like, oh no, that poor guy. But then you kind of think about it and you're like, it's not like Canada doesn't really deserve to be up 1-0, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like, as I said, I was kind of spending that next 10, 15 minutes being like, all right, Canada, please score another goal so that that's not how this happens. And they did, and it was fine. Right?
Kyle Larin and Junior Hoyle finding the net, making it
Yeah.
all okay, making Canadians at least be able to be relaxed and be able to properly embrace the win. You wrote a great piece for CanPL.ca, Charlie. Just why not us was
Yeah.
what you pitched to us in the group chat that night when everyone was pretty riled up, I think, to be fair. And it was going into the Octagon. This is going to be a tough group. Obviously you have the U.S. and Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, Honduras, and then El Salvador. I believe it's Jamaica as well. And have I said Panama? I think I said Panama. So it's coming into a tough group, but you can't help but look at this. I think Canada outscored opponents 37-1 in these games. It's a different Canada. Everyone will tell you that in every respect. So why not us?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only way you can look at it, right? Obviously, you're going into this 8-team gauntlet. Not a single one of these results will be easy or given to you. But, I mean, Canada's got the talent. Canada has as much talent as maybe any of these teams on paper, right?
Yeah.
Players playing at higher levels than on a consistent basis than pretty much any of these teams. Obviously, when you get into CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, that's not always what decides a game, right? It's very difficult to play in these environments. I mean, Canada hasn't been down to play on the road in Mexico or Honduras in about 5 years, and they're never easy places to go and even to get a draw. But if you kind of game it out, you look at the kind of I think it is kind of a consensus that maybe a 22, 23 point threshold from 14 games would probably see you into the top 4. You start getting into these kind of mathematical situations. You're like, okay, well, if you win 5 of your home games, say you spot a loss to Mexico at home, and maybe you can draw the United States, then you only need a few more results on the road, man. It's not at all out of the question, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see at least Canada fight for it.
Pointed out by a few in after the game was that Canada's going to play the U.S. and Mexico away in their first 2 away games, which, yeah, that's probably a good idea just to get those 2 big games out of the way. I did the math last night, and you were talking about point thresholds and everything. And just for a bit of context, Canada 7, 10, and 13 against these 7 teams in the last 10 years. 7 wins, 13 losses, 10 draws, which really isn't even that bad. To be honest, I was expecting to go back and find that the results would be a lot worse. But when it comes down to it, though, if we're talking about trying to finish in that top 3, obviously top 3 make a World Cup, 4 goes through an intercontinental playoff. Canada's only we'll put Costa Rica in the top 3. They've only beat a top 3 team once in the last 10 years. That was against the U.S. In 2019. This does, again, this is a classic Canadian men's national team sort of theory and something that's been said over and over again. This feels different. It feels different. Yeah. You can't deny that. You can't deny that to anybody watching this team or who's been following it for long enough, that this just flat out feels different to everyone. And the third round rather, starts in September. No rest for the wicked. There's 5 windows, 3 games each, except for a 2-game window in November. It's going to be wild to see how this one plays out.
It is going to be absolutely just insane. every few weeks you'll be like, oh, Canada's back, and they're playing 3 make or break massive games. It'll also be, in the fall, depending on COVID situations and whatnot. We don't know where these games will be played in Canada. Hopefully in Canada. We don't know what the environments will be like down in the road games. There's a lot of variables, but man, it's going to be exciting.
So Canada opens the Octagon hosting Honduras on Thursday, September 2nd. United States versus Canada. Going down to the States, Canada will be on Sunday, September 5th, and then Canada will host El Salvador in that first window in September. And then it's October, November, January, February, and then March. And then we'll figure out who's going to the World Cup in Qatar. Okay, let's switch to the CPL. We're going back to Return to the Stage, presented by Volkswagen Canada, moving west to east as we preview the kickoff in Winnipeg, Manitoba, starting, as we mentioned, in just over a week. Let's go to FC Edmonton. We got to preview their preseason so far. Alan Koch, those birds are really chirping. They're really going hard. I love that. But that's not in my hotel room. That has to be at Charlie's place.
I think so. Try to move the mic away from them. That's all right.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So let's talk about the Eddie. So Alan Koch, obviously the big story coming in, replacing Jeff Paulus. Team has been made up, in his image in many respects. Maybe what's your big question for this FC Edmonton team coming into Winnipeg?
Yeah, they're going to be a very interesting team this year because obviously there is a lot of change, and we have no idea how Alan Koch kind of envisions his team playing, and whether he's going to be building around Easton Ongaro in his attack, which it kind of feels like that's how this is set up. The big question for this team for me might be in the center of midfield. I'm not sure who the anchor of this team is at the moment. I mean, it could be whether it's Kyle Porter going into a more central role or Shamit Shom. But a lot of these guys that they've brought in have a lot of versatility and have played a lot of different positions in their careers. So I'm really not sure what the plan is for a lot of them. And a lot of them are younger and so on. I mean, Thomas Giraldo is another one that can play a lot of different midfield positions, and he's younger, but he might have a bigger role. It's just really hard to look at this list of players that Edmonton has and place them in an 11 at the moment, because I just don't know really what the vision is for a lot of these players, because a lot of them are talented, but they're all very versatile, and I'm not really sure.
Well, we were just talking before we hit record here. Edmonton has maybe like the best, I'm going to say, spine of the league. If you think about going from Amir Didic to Shamit Shom to Easton Ongaro, like that, those three players in those three positions, like could match any team in this league. But you're right; it's those other pieces that maybe leave people asking questions. I think this team is full of questions right now, right?
Yeah, and I'm not sure how quickly we'll get answers to them, but I'm not trying to disparage the team. I think that there is a lot of talent on this roster. There's just a lot of variables and moving pieces that it's hard to really get a read on them. I mean, we don't know what Alan Koch is like as a coach in the CPL, at least. It'll be interesting. I mean, I think there's a lot of players here that we know are good at this level. I mean, Fraser Aird was pretty good for Valour last year. I would expect him to be a pretty important piece of this attack. But just in general, I Edmonton's a very interesting team for me at the moment, because I've said it so many times now, but I'm just not sure.
And they're coming into Winnipeg on Monday. Their first game, they're opening the kickoff in Winnipeg against Ottawa on Saturday, on the opening day on Saturday on the 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So that's going to be really our first look, and it might be Alan Koch's as well, depending how if they've been able to play friendlies out there. I don't think they have been able to, even earlier in the spring. So all right, I guess we'll learn very soon. Okay, Valour FC. Valour FC, that lots of interesting stuff around Rob Gale's team as always. What's your big question? Actually, we're working on a fan series. I haven't told you this, Charlie, but we're working on a fan series where we're talking to supporters groups to offer 100-word pitches to neutral fans to support their team.
Right.
Which is great. And the Valour one is just littered with Rob Gale quotes. It's great. It's great. Just be on the lookout for that on the website in the coming days. So Valour technically joins the bubble on Monday. So they're actually going to have to come into the hotel and come into the sequestered environment and get tested and all that. But they've been training. They've been training at IG Field. They're going to be at home What's your big question around this team right now?
For this team, my biggest question might be up front in the kind of number 9 role, because there's a lot of new guys coming in that I'm not sure quite which is going to be the guy to score the goals. I mean, Daryl Fordyce is still here, but we've got Jared Aloa coming in, and Sean Ray and William Accio. I don't know a lot about many of these players. And I'm kind of interested to see which one of them is going to be sort of the talisman in the middle of the attack, kind of the striker, the number 9 guy that's going to score the goals.
I think it has to be Austin Ritchie, won't it?
Yeah, that was kind of the next name that I think coming up, who had, a pretty good Island games. He didn't score a goal, but he was always good on the ball and he looked hungry. And you have to think that he'll find that breakthrough pretty soon. And it sounds like he might be given that leash to find that goal this time around again, right? So I would be interesting to see if that's kind of how this plays out. But yeah, I think my biggest question for Valour is where the goals come from.
And they're a bit thin at the back right now. They brought in Rodrigo Reyes, who came out of Chivas, which is a very intriguing signing. And, it looks like he'll be ready to go for the kickoff. And there are, they've obviously have Andrew Jean-Baptiste there. Heard that Arnold Bukamutu is still having some visa troubles in France. So, you might not have him to play sort of to play a fullback role. I mean, Tony McHale is their U Sports draft pick they signed out of Carleton. I don't know. I just named all of the I guess the proper named defenders on this team. They've still got Federico Pena who can play there, Brett Levi as well. But yeah, I'm just worried about this team. Did you see that thing on CanPL.ca about Raf O'Heen becoming an attacking threat?
Yeah, that's cool.
Rob Gale's talking about wanting to work on his finishing here in the preseason. He said he's been looking good at scoring goals. So maybe play him as like a 10. He could play anywhere.
Yeah, he pretty much can. And I think he's pretty much up for anything. He's one of those guys that you point at a spot on a pitch and you're like, that's your position. He's like, okay, coach. I think on the face of it, the kind of starting line of this defense is pretty good. I mean, depending on what the situation is with Bukamutu, but there's not necessarily a whole ton of depth. I think maybe that might be a position where you look to maybe fill in a last minute signing or something like that, just to have a little bit more in the bank if you need it. I think the Valour's always got this kind of weird situation around the fullbacks where they have actually a ton of guys on their roster who can play in the fullback positions. I mean, Rafael Gallardo won Team of the Year right back in Brazil like 5 years ago. But apparently he's here to be a midfielder. I think, again, defending was Valour's strength last year. They had Julian Dunn in the mix. He's not around this time, but they still got a lot of the same pieces. They've still got the same midfield defensive pieces for the most part to kind of just win the ball back and put the pressure on. So I'm actually, the more I look at this Valour roster, I'm pretty intrigued by it. And I think they could actually be a sneaky, pretty good team this year. I think they might have one of the best international cores in the league, I think. Yeah. And this might be an exciting. I guess we'll see how much they can get a home field advantage in Winnipeg. But
already being in the hotel for a day, I'm not sure exactly how much that could be. And you can see the city. You can't touch it. You can't interact with it. Valour opens the kickoff on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern time against Forge FC. And that'll be quite a test. We'll be talking about Forge next week on Return to the Stage, presented by Volkswagen Canada. We're also going to be talking about Forge around the CPL documentary, Rise Above, premiering on Sunday night. If you didn't already know, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got advanced copies of this thing. Nice, tight 48 minutes talking about the Island games, the 2020 CPL season. Lots of great footage out of that. We were just talking before we hit record here. What was your favorite moment? Because I've got one. Because I've got a couple that come to mind. Like, I really like when there's a bunch of behind the scenes footage in this thing. You have to watch it. Like they
Mhm.
get Bobby Smirniotis talking to the Forge players before the second last game against Cavalry when they needed to win to move on, and then obviously the final. And he goes on this speech about great civilizations go to war and go to battle, and Forge FC is hereby a great civilization. I don't know. It was just a great speech. I just loved it.
Yeah, it was a great speech. I was a little confused by the metaphors, but it's a very good speech.
It made sense. I mean, it's all about just
Yeah.
believability at that point.
Yeah, yeah. It was a really cool look inside, what the bubble was like and what these sort of team environments were like in their, every team had their own little room that they decorated themselves and so on. My favorite part was definitely David Edgar and Kyle Becker trying to do a crossword together in their room.
Was that like
struggling
Moby
with
Dick? Is that like Moby
Yeah.
Dick's like enemy in the book or something? Or...
struggling with with the question about the question was like Moby Dick's foe, and they were trying to figure out if the answer was Orca. I thought it was Ahab.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they showed. I think the best part about that scene is that they showed David Edgar on his phone later, and you just see
Yeah.
his eyes light up. So he totally just Googled it, which was
They asked Maxim Tissot as well, but he had no idea.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Anyways, make sure to watch that Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific, broadcasting live on CanPL.ca. So switch over to the website. You'll see it there waiting for you. Okay, we're going to close this out with a kit review with the Kitsman. We'll keep it that vague to start. We're talking about the 2021 CPL Community kits produced by Macron. Lots of hot takes about kits here coming up for the 2021 season. Okay, we'll see everybody on Monday. So you think you know kits. We all think we know kits to a certain extent. Josh Chapman knows kits better than you. All right. So don't come in here. Don't come in here. Charlie's he's already moved away from the mic. Don't come in here and think that you know what you're talking about. We brought in Josh from the Kitsman, as you can see on his name tag. How would you describe this? Like a blog? Like I've seen your Twitter account is you post quite a bit about kits. Like give us a bit about yourself and why you know so much about kits.
Yeah, so it's sort of started off as sort of like an idea to sort of get like a nice sort of social media account going. I done a few failed attempts. I've done a few TV and movie ones. I like TV and films. Who doesn't? But I always had that passion for football shirts. And I just remember one day casually just going through Netflix and I saw the Kingsman. And I looked behind me and I had my rail shirts. And I just had that sort of light bulb moment. And I just thought, Kings. Oh my God, Kitsman. That sounds like a great alias. So what I did was I just came up with a quick logo on Illustrator, popped it on the old Twitter, and then just started talking to people about my love of football shirts. I just said, these are my shirts in my collection. These are where I find them. These are where you will want to go to find them as well. They're not as expensive as you think they are. I wasn't going to be like an influencer. That is not what I was aiming to be. I wasn't, because there's a tag attached to that. And I was like, no way is that ever happening. But
Josh, I'm gonna stop you right there. You are now an influencer. Congratulations.
Well, hey. You said it, not me, man. So,
and for those listening to this segment, you have an Atletico Ottawa kit on. How did you get this one? Why'd you pick this one? An away kit from 2020.
Yeah. So got speaking to the league. Just really interested in it. Ever since your inaugural year, where there was that kit launch in the church, and I was like, "This is amazing! It's a catwalk as well." And I was like, "This needs to happen everywhere, and more people need to know about it." So I just got like a really cool sort of interest in the league, and I thought to myself, "This needs to be sort of like broadcast to as many people as I can broadcast it to." And sure enough, Mickey Bernadetti and David Clanican, like the commissioner, was just sort of like really open in arms and like saying, "No, Josh, really interested in what you do." And they just sent me a few jerseys. I've got a few shirts here.
Oh, wow.
I've got Valour and I've got all of the ones really. And I just really think that it's so cool. I just love the different designs. I like the fact that all the sort of city I don't know, not attractions, but landmarks you put on your away shirt. So when you go and travel, you're taking a part of your sort of city away with you. And I think things like that, I haven't seen that before. And I just want to sort of celebrate as much as I can.
I mean, we get this with the community kits, which we're here to review, of course. 2021 CPL community kits, obviously produced all by Macron. So at least to start the season in Winnipeg, these teams will be playing in these kits away from fans. So they're bringing something with them on the field. We're going to go kit by kit, and it's all about reviews. We're going to need hot takes here from Charlie, especially.
Oh, no.
We're going to go west to east. We'll start with Pacific FC. Maybe Charlie, let's start with you. I think you like this one, don't you?
So it's a lot of pressure for me to be sitting here and giving my opinions when they clearly are not the expert opinions on this podcast. I like this kit though. I like the darker purple. I think it's darker than any of the other Pacific kits we've seen. And I mean, I'm always a fan of a collar. It's a kind of an interesting neck shape. I'm not so sure about that, but you know, I think I really I do like the darker purple on this one.
Josh?
Yeah, same here. I did like it, and I like the evolution from last season as well. I kind of like what they're doing there as well with because Pacific, I'm guessing is on the coast, right?
Yes, it's in Victoria, British Columbia.
My guessing is that is the sort of swirl or the waves or something to do with water in some way. Again, that is ace. I live for those sorts of things. I also, Charlie, love a bit of a collar, bit of a sucker for a collar. So I just think it works well. It's not fussy. It's subtle in design as well. I think it's just a nice shirt.
Okay, we're gonna have to fire through these quickly because we've got to get to this tier list. Okay, Valour FC, Josh, classic, right?
Yeah, nice half and half. Love the sort of maroon and white. Not enough of them around, and I love the gold sort of like finishes on it as well. That was one of my favourites when it got launched.
Oh, sorry, we've gone out of order here. Maybe we'll switch up to FC Edmonton here. Charlie, this one's denim. One's denim. It's based off of Edmonton. Edmonton famously was a big denim producer and jeans.
I didn't actually know that, but that's really cool. It makes sense. Very Canadian.
Yes, it is. And then of course we have Cavalry FC incorporating some of the green as well. Yeah. Red and green is this is maybe something we can touch on here, Josh. Like red and green together was such an intriguing sort of prospect for a team, but they've kind of made it work, maybe especially here, right?
Yeah, broken up with the white. I think that's good. I think with just the green on its own probably might have been a bit lost, but with the white, it just sort of gives it that nice little that little touch. Yeah, I like that a lot. And
then we've got Forge FC as well with the dragon. A big fan of the fans is Dragon Energy. I've been loving seeing those, which has been great. We got to maybe stick with York for a bit. This is York United's kit. York just rebranded this offseason, just for context, Josh. But this kit seems to stick out the most, I think, out of this bunch, eh?
Yeah, because it was York 9, wasn't it? I've got. I know you're sort of pushed for time, but yeah, York 9, I think, was last season, wasn't it? I like that. This season, it's good. I just think it's just a little bit busy. Just a little bit busy.
Interesting.
Just maybe a bit too much going on. But I still value it as a great shirt. But I've been thinking to myself what I would do different here, but I haven't got an opinion on it yet.
Charlie, do you like this one?
I'm not sure. I think this is one of those ones that will look better on a pitch and from a broadcast angle. I think, and it'll look pretty sharp when they're playing. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Okay, fair enough. We've also got Ottawa. So actually, we should touch on this, Josh. Why do you have an Ottawa kit? Why did you decide to wear this one? Do you have an affinity for the club?
No, yeah, I like it. I like its links to Atletico Madrid. I also liked the badge as well, and also I like the collar on this one, and I like the collar on this one as well. I like the collar on last season's too. It was
swap out here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely love that one. So I like the evolution into what it is now.
Of course, and sponsored by Come On as well. We're working closely with at the CPL here, moving forward. Okay, and then we've got to end with Charlie's favorite in the Halifax Wanderers.
Yeah, man, it's just awesome. The double blue, the little, lion, I don't know what you call that, watermark.
Lion
Sublimated.
Rampart, I believe is what it's called. It's on the
Yeah.
Nova Scotian flag.
Yeah, I really like this one.
You could wear that on a night out.
Yeah, in Halifax.
Oh yeah.
They would love it in
You would have a
Halifax.
great one in Halifax, yeah.
Okay, because now, all right, with that all being said, we've covered the bases. Now it's time for the hot takes. So we're going to tier these. We're going to rank them.
All right.
And we're going to start again west to east. Pacific FC. I think this has to be a communal decision between the three of us. Where are we thinking?
I think it's an A to B. I reckon it's somewhere in between there.
Yeah.
Maybe a B.
I think we can. Yeah, B's pretty safe. Maybe we might need to be a little bit harsh just so that we can separate the best ones at the top.
Okay, Calgary.
I see. He's a very sort of like nice shirt still, though. I say it's a B too. I don't know what you think, Charlie. I think it's a B.
Yeah, I think I like Pacific's a little bit better, but I think Cavalry's right in there on the B.
Calgary
range.
The Calgary one's not that good. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know what the appeal is.
All right, Marty, put it down then.
All right, I'll put it to C. Edmonton. I think this should be.
I love this. I love the denim. I think it's hilarious.
On its own, good, but if you dare to wear triple denim with it, then you're going, no, we're not having any of that. I'd say an A. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. It's the Canadian tuxedo.
I think it'll be with the white shorts, so it'll work out all right.
Yeah. And okay, so Valour.
That's an A. That's an
special. It's special, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So, all right.
We
You're putting
agree.
it up in the S tier. All right.
This kit is maybe the most unique kit that the CPL has had in terms of like it looks the most memorable, right?
I do like this one because it reminds me of that Aston Villa kit that Jack Grealish made his debut in.
Yes.
In like 2014. So it's got a special place in my heart.
Even though, I mean, Jack Grealish doesn't play for Winnipeg, but okay. Forge FC. Forge FC.
Yeah, I see. That's still striking. You don't get many teams playing orange. Is it a B?
Marty.
No,
this is a B.
I'm having some troubles with the mouse here. What do you think? It's a B?
I think it's a B at worst.
Josh?
I don't know.
Yeah, I see. I'd flirt between A and B, but I appreciate why it would be a B. Yeah. I think also the neckline's quite low. I mean, you're going to be really feeling a lot of chest hair.
Yeah.
It does run right between the Forge and Macron logo. Okay. York United's white kit.
Still, I'd say that's it. What do you say, Charlie?
Yeah, Josh, you're not a fan of this one. I would still be okay with it in the C range.
Yeah.
Wow, this is bold, eh?
We're being a little bit harsh sometimes, but that's okay.
I think we can just leave. Let's just leave the D tier. Let's just only do C. Okay, Ottawa.
Yeah, it's safe in it. That I'd say that's maybe a B or an A.
I'd be comfortable with it in the A. I think.
In the A, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Works.
This one's easy. This
So,
last one's easy.
Is this S tier?
Halifax? It is for me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It is for me.
Wow. Okay. This is a pretty.
Wow.
This is pretty a consensus.
We got 2 in each tier.
Okay. Yeah. I guess for those listening, Valour and Halifax in the S tier at the very top. Edmonton and Ottawa in the A tier. They're actually going to be opening the kickoff in a week or two, which is funny. Pacific and Forge in the B tier, then Cavalry and York in the C tier. This makes sense to me. I think the only thing is, I think the York kit got robbed. I think the York kit could be B tier.
Marty likes the York kit a lot.
I think. It's unique in the same way that Forge's kit is unique. I think they deserve credit for that.
Yeah, it is unique.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think the standard is very high at the moment, though.
That is true.
It's difficult. It is very difficult, and we have to be harsh sometimes.
Okay, Josh, before we let you go, you have obviously been watching this league and its kits from Macron for quite some time. If you were watching from the kit launch in April 2019, which kit across all of them? I hate to hazard a guess. How many kits would we have? Like maybe 25, somewhere between 25 and 30?
I'd say so, yeah.
So which one is your absolute favorite?
I like Forges from last season, actually. That was their league winning shirt as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that was great. Everything down to sort of the detailing, the Tim Hortons logo, I think, adds to it. I do. I mean, sometimes a sponsor can make or break a kit, and I really like that one. So I'd go Forges from last season.
Yeah, especially if you're not from Canada, just having Tim Hortons on the front of a kit would be pretty entertaining, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for wrapping up the 2021 CPL Community Kits produced by Macron.